Let's get more now. We are joined by Rosa Balfour, who is joining us from Brussels. She is a senior fellow at the German Marshall Fund. Welcome to the program, and thank you for being with us. We've heard Johnson pledging to renegotiate the deal with the European Union, especially the withdrawal agreement. How do you see that playing out?
Well, that seems very unlikely. The EU has been pretty adamant that so long as the demands from the UK remain the same, the withdrawal agreement that has already been negotiated is the best deal that can be obtained. When it comes to the political declaration, there's a little bit more room for manoeuvre, but the withdrawal agreement remains as it is. We need to see what Boris Johnson is really going to do in real terms now that he has been nominated Prime Minister.
And, but all along, we have to say he has seemed incredibly self-assured that he will be able to secure this from the European Union. In fact, he's even promised to lead Britain out of the EU with or without a deal by the end of October. Therefore, one has to wonder, could that be where we are heading? A disorderly Brexit?
Well, this seems to be his plan, or at least so far it has seemed to be his plan. We need to see whether that will change once he has become Prime Minister and is perhaps more aware of the risks involved with these tactics. But this tactic has been to push the EU to the brink in order to extract further deals. But the EU has been adamant from the beginning of the negotiation process with Theresa May that this is not the way it functions. The EU has a set of key priorities which it will protect no matter what, and that is the integrity of the single market, the rights of citizens, and of course Ireland as well as a member of the European Union. Nothing much is going to change unless London comes up with a different plan which is constructive and upon which some ground for compromise can be found. But if London continues to reiterate the same points, Theresa May's red lines, that it wants to leave this single market, doesn't want freedom of movement of people, it doesn't want the sovereignty of the European Court of Justice, well, then the EU's position is very clear. And I don't see the signs of that changing, certainly not in the short term, until we actually know what will happen in London. Because, of course, Boris Johnson, this is just day one for him. We're not even sure whether he's going to manage to form a government. We don't know whether he might face a no confidence vote in Parliament. He himself might want to call snap elections. He has a wafer-thin majority in Parliament as things stand now. So the picture really is not yet clear in London, and it's certainly not clear in a way that would make the EU change its position, on which it has been consistent for months in the short term.
So it sounds like a pretty epic battle might be brewing between Johnson and the European Union. I just want to ask you briefly before we go, because, there was this question about the prospect of a new referendum. Now we have one of the chief Brexiteers taking over leadership of the UK. So is that dead in the water, in your view?
Well, at the moment, there doesn't seem to be much of a majority in Parliament in favour of a second referendum. Again, things can change. I think there will be a lot of uncertainty in Parliament in the weeks to come. Of course, summer recess is approaching as well. But the arithmetics might not work in Boris Johnson's favour. And so while so far we haven't found a majority in favour of a second referendum, it could be that following a no confidence vote, things will change in the short term.